It's up. You just got to put it in present mode and you're there.
Okay, yay.
Perfect.
All right. Uh-oh, I took it down. Can you let me know whenever they're back?
Yep, they're 22 right now, but you got one more minute before it's
Okay.
10:30. Okay, it's 10:30. I think everybody's here. It looks like it.
All right. That's good. All right. Welcome back, everyone, and good morning. Today, we're going to talk about managing coaching conversations. So, as coaches, we don't get to control a conversation and not allow for choice or for teachers to have voice or to have true dialogue. But yet, we can't let a coaching conversation become completely unfocused, whereas we start spinning our wheels or gasping for straws, or we don't know where the conversation is headed. We have to become great managers of coaching conversation, which is the balance there. So, we have to have some kind of balance. So today, here are your learning targets. I can reflect on what coaching means to me. I can critique problem focused and solution focused managed conversations. I can apply the growth model to support a solution focused coaching conversation. Here you have your reading coach competency, which is standard 6. And this talks about demonstrating the ability to hold effective coaching conversations, thinking about planning, goal setting, reflective problem solving. You can do this with individuals, groups of teachers, teachers and administrators, or when you're facilitating group meetings. So now let's think about what is your elevator speech. The elevator speech, so named because it describes your message or your vision for your work in the time span of an elevator ride. So we're talking about 30 seconds or less. So I want you to think for a minute, what does coaching mean to you? How could you describe coaching in 30 seconds or less? So think about what makes your heart sing in your work as a coach. Think about why you are inspired to do this work. How could you describe that? What does coaching mean to you? All right, I want you to take a minute to just think about it. And then I want you to take a minute to write it down in your notebook. And I'll give you about 2 minutes to complete this task. All right, you have about 30 seconds. Five seconds. All right. So now you're getting ready to share your elevator speech. And I'm going to put you in a breakout room for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then you'll be in groups of 3. I want you to discuss with each other. I want you to share your elevator speech, but I also want you to think about what resonated with you as you hear each other's speeches. What resonated with you? And what are some similarities in beliefs that emerged from the speeches that you heard? All right. So, what resonated with you, and what are some similarities from what you heard? Any questions before you go into the breakout room? All right, I'm going to stop sharing, and you in breakout rooms. All right. See, 3 in there. 3. All right. Can you see my PowerPoint?
Now it's coming up, but you see the other slides on the side.
All right.
Now, there you go.
Okay.
You're good.
Thank you.
All right. So at this point in time, there is not a universal and or legally binding definition of coaching. This fact is often cited as a weakness of the profession of coaching. So right now, there is no one definition, no one size fits all. So at the same time, this does allow for a certain freedom for each coach to define his or her practice in a way that is meaningful to himself or herself and her clients. So I want you to think about what is important here. The important thing to remember is that you have a clear definition for coaching and are able to communicate your vision clearly, concisely, precisely, and confidentially to your coachees. So we have curated a sample list of coaching definitions from some current experts and researchers in the field. So you're going to take a moment to just reflect on those definitions and think about the definitions from what you heard from some of the other coaches during your breakout rooms. And I want you to refine your own definition of what coaching is to you. And the link is in your on your digital agenda up under module 2. So take a moment to just think about what did you hear, read from the researchers and the experts, and then go and refine your your elevator speech, your definition. Give you about 2 minutes to do that. All right, you have about 30 seconds. You can wrap it up. So now that you've had more refined and tailored to create a personal definition for coaching, you've had a chance to name what coaching is. In doing so, you've also named what coaching is not. So can I get someone to unmute and share your definition? Or it could be your refinement with the group that you made to your definition. Someone could unmute and share.
I have coaching is backing, supporting, and guiding teachers along a pathway to effective instruction.
Okay.
I added some words to mine because as I read through the whatever. So I put a partnership that spotlights and supports data-driven best practice teaching in order to support self-motivated learning.
Okay. Someone else?
I think coaching is working with and supporting others to create and reach goals so that they can meet their fullest potential. And so students are getting a quality education.
All right.
I've got coaching is supporting, encouraging, listening, sharing, and collaborating with educators so they can support students' academic and social emotional growth.
I like that. All right, I think I heard the word support come up in each one that you all shared. So you definitely look at it as a supportive role. Good. All right, so hopefully between your elevator speech and your refinement or your vision of your definition, you found some commonalities among the various definitions. So there are some broad agreement among definitions among the experts. So if you look at it, it says coaching is managed conversation that takes place between a coach and a coachees or coachees, aims to support sustainable change in behaviors and or ways of thinking, focuses on learning and development. So those are some broad definitions there. So thinking about your learning targets for today, you've had an opportunity to reflect on what coaching means to you. Now we're getting ready to critique using problem-solving, problem-focused, and solution-focused managed conversations. So moving forward, let's change our lens a little bit. I want you to think about what would it be like to be coached by yourself. All right. So in a minute, you're going to have an opportunity to go into the breakout rooms in pairs. And one of you will be the coach and the other will be the coachee. You'll have 10 minutes in the breakout rooms. So you will spend 5 minutes being the coach, and then you'll spend the other 5 minutes being the coachee. So I'll explain this a little bit more in depth. So for scene 1, you're going to have the problem-focused conversation script. And again, this is linked in your digital agenda. So the coach will read question 1 and the coachee will respond. Please try not to deviate from these questions. Please try to stick to the script. You may or may not ask all of these questions and get a response in 5 minutes. And if you don't, then that is okay. All right. So the coach will ask these questions, the coachee will respond, and you will have 5 minutes to do that. So you're going to want to make sure that you have a timekeeper between the two of you. After your 5 minutes are up, then you're going to switch roles. The coach will then become the coachee, and the coachee will then become the coach. But this time, you're going to use the solution-focused conversation script, okay? And again, please try not to deviate from these questions. All right, so any questions about the task before you go into your breakout room? Any questions? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to place you in pairs. And I may have to switch a few of you around. So if I do, just give me a moment.
Script.
Oh, okay.
Over.
I've got it up. So if you want to be I could be the coach if you want to be the coachee. Well, Stephanie's time.
So I don't have to
Alright.
follow the script. I'm trying to pull up the script so I can, but it won't let me do it and see you guys. I'm not sure why.
I can do that first. So here, are we ready to get
I'll be the
started?
coachee. Mhm.
Okay. Tell me about one of your struggles or challenges in your coaching role at the moment.
Trying to work with a teacher who is resistant to a new program that we are having to do.
Why is this such a problem?
Because it's affecting the students' ability to grow as readers and writers.
What are the worst emotions you have around this?
It actually causes me a lot of anxiety and stress because I'm working with those students one-on-one and they're very capable. They just need that support in the classroom. That tier 1 intervention is not happening the way that I would love for it to happen.
What are the biggest barriers to progress here?
Resistance to change, not accepting constructive criticism or feedback, and trying to maintain a positive working relationship and still going in and being professional and pushing in each Thursday and modeling things, but hoping that that will change without damaging the relationship thus far.
I can already tell, like, I feel like we're not, so that was the end of the questions.
Y'all are good. 1 minute and 8 seconds.
But like, I feel like that's why this one's like, it's problem focused. We're never going to come up with a solution if we just keep coming on, you know, we're just,
Right. I would have liked a part of like, what steps are you taking and like, what's working as far as a solution moving forward?
right. So
What are things that are happening to, yeah. So that's, because that is a realistic, like, it's happening.
mhm.
You all
Do you
are
wanna
some
be the-
overachievers.
What?
Do you?
We're-
Overachievers.
We are, I'm telling
Well, we
you.
got through it really fast and we're like, wait, we're never going to come
Tiffany
to
and
a
I have been
solution.
together like all day. So Tiffany and I, well, we go way back. Yeah, we go way back to that.
Do you want to be the coachee again and do the solution focused conversation?
Being able to somehow with people like her to reach her even though she's not wanting to be reached. I mean, what can I do? Because everybody else on that grade level is on board. So, you know, what can I do to still reach out even though she's not wanting to meet us halfway, but she's still a squeaky wheel? What can I do to still somehow help her?
I love it. If this was working well, what would be happening? What do you envision?
I think that grade level would work well better together because everybody would be on the same page. I think she would be more open to talking during grade level meetings, and I think sometimes she feels like she's the target of negative stuff because she just sees things in a different way. So it would just change the whole dynamics of that grade level. Like in the last, I think you were in the group I was in the last time,
Yeah.
and we were talking about, you know, one person on a grade level can change the whole dynamics of the group.
So
So,
true.
yeah.
Tell me about a time in the past when you've handled the same or similar challenge successfully.
Well, there was another teacher who kind of openly spoke out about the same rubric, but she gave us feedback that we could work with. And so we were able to make some tweaks to the rubric based on that. So that was successful, but only because she was open. She was willing to give us some feedback that we could, you know, monitor and adjust on. So.
What would others notice you doing if you were managing this challenge well? Hard. That's a hard question.
Yeah. What would others notice me doing? They would probably see my face because my face says a whole lot whenever I'm talking. So just making sure that my demeanor is not showing how irritated I am. So they would see me still smiling and still being pleasant with my face, and being very gentle in what I'm saying to her and not getting irritated, basically. So,
If you could take one single action to move forward, what would it be?
Not be successful.
Mm,
In my mind, there's something going on that's causing that person to not be able to perform the way they want to.
right, right. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that.
Okay, so are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, so and I took a picture of this so I wouldn't have to pull it up on the other screen. Hold on. Okay. So, Sheree, tell me about a struggle or a challenge that that you're facing right now as a coach at your school.
I think the biggest thing that I am facing is what we would call the belief gap. So teachers believing that these students who have historically not left grade level on standard can actually leave grade level on standard.
Wow, I can see how that could be hard because it is your belief drives your intention.
That's right.
So I can see how that could be difficult. Why do you think? Why do you think that is such a problem? Why do the teachers have that mindset?
I think part of it is you don't know what you don't know.
Mm.
And so it's what does effective instruction look like that will enable students to meet standards, but also the work that goes into that. So that's a lot of work, right? And so when you're dealing with maybe some people who have historically not had to put in the work that it takes to make the change that is possible, is a
Mhm.
struggle.
And do you think that do you think it's a matter of they just think that it's too much, like to try to accomplish?
So I think for some people it's skill and will, while some
Mhm.
people have the will but not the skill.
So you think they need to be able to be open more to learning those skills and understanding the skills that it takes to overcome that mindset.
Right.
What do you see the worst emotions are or that you have surrounding this?
Hmm. For me, just because of my philosophy on education and why I'm in it, I have sadness, um, and then anger. And so, because I know what's possible and I've seen what's possible. And so it makes me extremely sad and extremely angry that everyone may not see what's possible, but then frustration as well, because how can I, as a coach, support those teachers in seeing what's possible and giving them the tools to make it happen? So I have to control that
my screen again. All right, can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's get rid of this. All right, so you've had an opportunity to go into the breakout rooms. I actually enjoyed popping in, just listening to some of you. I heard the passion in some of your voices and your concerns as you were sharing. You were either the coach or the coachee, so you had wonderful conversations. So now let's take a moment as a group to just talk about either the problem, well, both of them, the problem-focused conversation and the solution-focused conversation. So the first question here says, what appears to be the difference between the two conversations? So if you all could just unmute and please feel free to just jump in and also elaborate on someone else's thinking. So what appeared to be the difference between the two?
Those driving questions. I mean, whether we're focusing on the problem and just going back to the problem each and every time and focusing on that. There's with that problem focused conversation, it was very short, didn't seem to offer anything. And then that solution focused was more, it's still the same sort of things, but we were able to have a richer conversation, more solution focused.
Wonderful. So the first one, I agree, it did focus more on the problem, and the second one was more about finding a solution to the problem, kind of changing your mindset there. Absolutely. All right, number two, what did the questions do to the coachee's thinking? So as you were hearing these questions, what did it do to the coachee's thinking?
Well, I don't mind sharing if that's okay.
Yeah.
I could even sense not even a difference in my thinking, but also in my emotions. When it was a problem focused question, there was a little bit more anxiety and tension that I felt because I was thinking about what's not working, what's the problem, versus the solution where there felt a little bit more openness to possibilities. So I could just sense in my own self a different feeling, as well as thinking. There were more open, diverse thinking when I thought solution-based versus problem-based.
Okay. All right.
And I will share. I'm usually, my thoughts are all over the place. If those have been in small group with me, I kind of like, that solution focused conversation. I'll read the problem focus was short, sweet, and to the point. The solution focus, it pushed me to really think deeper, and it kept me on a straight path. So like, here's a question, think about that answer, move to the next question, think about that and answer, versus kind of thinking about it all over the place. It might have seemed all over the place to my group, but it was keeping me focused. So I thought that helped to kind of keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. All right. Someone else?
I think looking at both of them was important. It kind of gives you a glow and a grow. Focusing on something you want to achieve that, maybe you're already working towards, but also then focusing on something that maybe you had to think about for a minute. What is a struggle? What is a challenge? What is another area that, I could pay attention to as I'm coaching?
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I heard goal setting there. Absolutely. I was in one room and I heard the coachee say when they got down to, well, what would people think? What would they notice about you if you were doing it well? And she was like, oh, it made her freeze for a minute because she had to really think about that questionnaire. She was like, oh, that's a hard one. So it took a moment. So you just can't spit out those answers. You're having to really think about it before answering it. All right. Number 3 says, how did asking and answering the questions make you feel? How did it make you feel? Thinking about the problem one, how did it make you feel? Did you all feel any kind of way?
For the problem one, I almost felt like almost uncomfortable. Like I just kept saying problem, worst emotions, the barriers. Like it didn't make you feel good. It didn't make you feel like you could come up with a solution as you're like, what are we trying to get at here? So for me, that one was like, okay, I'm asking these questions, but I don't feel like there's a driving purpose. I don't feel like we're going to have a great conversation and get to a solution this way or find improvements.
Not really supportive, which is what we're here to be, is supportive. And we were
Right.
basically stating the obvious.
Yeah, I did not feel like I was supporting at all.
How about the solution focused one? How did you feel?
I asked the question, so I just felt much more positive, and I felt like she was even a little more relaxed and elaborated more, and like almost thinking, like thinking through versus just hard answers.
Mm-hmm. So with the problem one, it pretty much puts you in a negative frame of mind, thinking about those words that you were using: struggling, challenging, problems, worst emotions, biggest barriers. So those are kind of the negative part of it. But then your mind started to shift once you thought about the word achieve or working well, envision, successfully, notice, single action, and move forward. So those are some words that kind of help you to focus. And then at the end, you were able to just think about what did you want the outcome to be, and you had some solutions from that. I'm scared to click on this. I don't know what's going to happen if I click on it. If someone put something in the chat, I can't see it.
I'll read it to you. It says, it's from Stephanie. Problem-based was more reactive. Solution-based was more reflective and proactive.
Absolutely. All right. So problems with a problem focus. So this here, can you see the whole thing? Probably can't see it, my screen. So this is by Keith Webb, and it says that it deflates, it magnifies weaknesses, it devalues the person, it continues to spiral. So thinking about when it deflates, you're focusing on problems and it becomes draining at times. It de-energizes people. Thinking about how it magnifies it magnifies weaknesses, you're focusing on what is weak or what is lacking and how it can actually magnify those aspects in a coach's mind. It devalues a person. So our coaches also tend toward a problem focus. So as a result, we often take people back through questions that they've already considered, which may indicate that we don't think they are smart enough to have asked these questions on their own. And then it continues to spiral. So a problem-centered approach frequently takes our coaches around the same block that they've already seen. They want us to bring a fresh approach, not bury them back in the problem. So one thing that I want you to do, if you printed it out, put a X across the problem focused questions, because those are the questions that we do not want to ask. All right. And if you did not print it out, just put it in your mind. There's a huge X that goes across the problem focused questions. All right, this one is by Christian Van Newberg. It says that it reframes problems. This is the strengths with a solution focus. It reframes problems, creates movement, strengths-based perspective, focus on possibilities. So reframing the problems. It's a way to meet coaches where they are in their reality, yet allows for the coachee to envision possibilities for future achievement. So I want you to think about question number one in each problem and solution conversation, and think about how it is reframed. Think about how it is reframed from more of a positive lens. More of the appreciative inquiry. Thinking about how it creates movement. Solutions create forward movement in a situation that may seem stagnant. Thinking about strengths-based perspective. Strengths are naturally motivating and exciting to think about. Strengths also reveal areas of success in the coachee's work, which reveals resources that may already be present as building blocks that can be used to move forward. So as a coach, you need to become really good at being a strength spotter. Really good at spotting strengths. And thinking about the focus on possibilities. Focusing on possibilities can be energizing versus exhausting. Possibilities give hope that the future can be different if we try other options. We, the coach and the coachee, always want to leave a conversation feeling energized. So notice how this language aligns with the appreciative inquiry. So whenever we're coaching, we want to make sure that this is the type of language that we're using in coaching conversations. Give you just a moment to read these two quotes. Okay. And as we move forward to the next learning target, I would like for you to keep these two quotes in mind. All right, you've had an opportunity to reflect on what coaching means to you. You've had a chance to critique the problem-focused and the solution-focused managed conversation. So now you're getting ready to apply the growth model to support a solution-focused coaching conversation. So this is called the growth model, and it is linked inside of your, it's linked to your digital agenda. And so this is one model, which is one option to have if you want to focus on the solution-focused conversations. And again, this is by Christian Van Newberg. You look at it, the acronym GROWTH is the conversation part of the model. Notice that prior to an effective conversation, a relationship needs to be built. It's at the very top of the growth model. So you have to have a relationship first. And then if you look at the very bottom, you notice that when results are observed, celebrating happens. So you have your results and make sure to celebrate at the end. So now let's dig into each part of the growth model more closely, and then you'll have an opportunity to practice this in a breakout room. So first you have your goals. You're thinking about what do you need to achieve. So in this stage, you're clearly establishing exactly what the coachee would like to achieve. So the coachee is pretty much naming and noticing and naming an area of growth for themselves. Then we're looking at reality. What is happening right now? Okay, so in this stage, you're going to identify the resources, the skills, and the strengths that are already in place that will facilitate achievement of the goals. So the coach and the coachee, here you gain an understanding of where they are now in relation to what they would like to achieve in the future. The O is for options. So what are some of the options? What are some of the things that you can do? So in this stage, you want to explore all possible options for actions that would enable the achievement of the goal. So you want to push past the first possibility or options. So you want to brainstorm at least 3 or more options there. So if that first one doesn't work, then what could you do next? If that one doesn't work, what could you do next? And oftentimes we don't push through the first option we think of as push deep and think about more options. Because if this option we choose first doesn't work as well as we had hoped, we have other options to try. So the coachee should generate most of the options. The coach could put some options on the table if needed and asked of by the coachee. So making sure that you have at least 3 options. So the will, what will you do? All right, thinking about what will you do? So in this stage, given all present circumstances, you're then going to go and select which option for action the coachee will take to create a way forward. So in this stage, together, you all will decide this. You will choose where to start. Okay, think about which option is giving the coachee the most energy. That's where you want to center your plan around. Tactics. How and when will you do it? How and when, okay? So in this stage, get started and create momentum by planning the specific details of the action to take. So it's important for the coachee to commit to one option and when will they try it. Also in this stage, the coachee devises a plan. Of course, it can be with the coach's support for the first next step. So you're leaving there, you have this plan in place. What will they try? Be very clear about your support there. Then you have the habits. How will you sustain your success? So in this stage, leverage and create positive, empowering habits by identifying the strengths and qualities needed to achieve and sustain success and affirming any strong qualities that the coachee may already be demonstrating. So here, the coachee envisions success and how they will sustain, how will they keep it going, sustain their success. All right, so you're getting ready to go into breakout room. And hopefully I will be able to keep you in that same breakout room. But you're going to have 15 minutes and one of you will be the coach and the other one will be the coachee. So the coach, you're going to use the growth model, okay? You're going to go through those questions with them. And the coachee, have a goal in mind that you would like to achieve in your coaching work in the near future. All right, so what is something that you would like to achieve in your coaching work in the near future? And the coach, you're going to go through those questions, helping the coachee to answer questions, okay? And if you have time left, you may or may not, and if you don't, it is okay. But if you have time left, you can switch roles. So any questions before you go into a breakout room? Any questions? All right, let's see. Hopefully I can keep you in the same room. Yep, all right. Right, she goes in there. Let's see. Okay, she went in there. All right, Sandy, I'm gonna pop in and out some rooms.
And seeing on a current goal. Hold on, I'm gonna read this.
All right, I guess we can talk about the first one. What do you need to achieve?
But once again, I think that's always going to be.
I guess I mean, I'm having a hard time determining what my goal is with these walkthroughs, besides for myself getting a pulse on where we're at, just because, and I think I've said this before to you, but we're not really strategic in our instructional planning, as a school-wide culture. So, and honestly, without me having the ability to do walkthroughs or to be able to conduct PLC at this point, I'm almost trying to figure out what my goal is through the walkthrough. It's almost like my goal is to determine a goal. And what I told my principal was one of the goals of the walkthroughs for me, or I hope to find a goal, was to determine the PD needs for the following year and to determine similarities and differences between grade levels or between teachers within a grade level to kind of figure out what direction I need to go in and what I provide. But I also do want to provide some autonomy as well and see, what do they feel like they need? You know what I mean? So at this point, like my goal is like a pulse check on where we're at. So I don't think there's one piece I'm after right now because I don't know yet.
Yeah. One of the things, has your principal been like, our focus this year is going to be questioning, engagement?
Well, she asked us about the rubric at the beginning of the year, what our thoughts were. And she asked what I thought were the two most important areas of the rubric, or where we could make the most change.
Yeah.
I said presenting instructional content and questioning were key. So she said those were our focuses this year, but what we've done with those focuses.
So in going to what we talked about in the last one, when you sit down with people, take one of those, the questioning, and kind of build from there. There's where your conversation starts and goes. My building at the beginning year, last year was kind of higher order questioning. We started with that. So my principal was like, that's my focus right now. So that's what I was going in and kind of focusing on, and then continuing with my conversation in other directions. Now we're doing engagement, and they're doing engagement surveys. So I've been looking for more engagement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that just starts the conversation. So when you do have those face-to-face conversations, you can say, we've kind of been talking about this. You haven't really done PD yet on it, but that will give you the ideas.
Well, and that's kind of when I started, because on my form that I created, I did put the people I did see last week. I did all presenting instructional content. So I guess indirectly, I did kind of choose a rubric indicator.
Yeah.
But I know, like, for the 5 people that I worked on that are like on plans or first year people, it ended up every time we try to go in a direction, it always came back to they don't have quality management. So it ended up coming back to that every time.
Yeah.
So, and I think it depends. Sometimes when I've started an observation, I went looking for one thing, but then I've kind of seen something else that I'm like,
of where we talk briefly and I can maybe devise some questions, hey, how did you think the lesson went? What were your thoughts on that? And then maybe I can get in a full post-conference in that manner rather than trying to find a 30-minute conversation time, because I know her time is valued as well, especially now. where they are so limited, and I am too. We already take up 2 days a week for our planning, whereas we used to take 1. We now take 2. So that may be an option.
So when you thought about options for creating time for post conferences, what I heard you say was possibly a little bit of lunchtime, maybe 10 minutes of free planning time, but that you already have the structure in place where y'all meet for planning anyway.
We do.
How does that look? Is that an entire grade level team or a vertical team?
It is an entire grade level team. Yes.
Okay.
We come together 1 day, 2 days a week, once for math, which the math coach is in charge of that, and then 1 day for reading, which I do. So it takes up 2 of their planning periods. And
Right.
yeah.
So of the options you mentioned, a little bit of, like you said, some small snippets of time here and there, which option gives you the most energy that you feel the best about? This is doable.
Probably what is doable would be probably to just grab her for those small 10-minute time slots, just, and then that way I'm not taking another one of her planning times. I know how valuable that is. It's valuable for me. I mean, and I'm out of the classroom now, so I know 10 minutes versus, hey, can I have another one of your planning periods, would be better.
Right. So if you have, sorry,
I'm just saying, maybe if I could get just focused in on exactly what I want to, what feedback I would like to get and give, that probably would be the better option.
yeah, that was going to be, that's what I was going to ask next. If you know you have limited time, where do you feel like your next strategic small step would be where you get the biggest bang for your buck?
Yes. And I think that, for example, I have a meeting tomorrow, a coaches meeting, and one of the things we're going to be kind of analyzing is some of our writing. And I've asked her to give me a piece of her writing. I said, can you give me some of your TDA writing? And that's something that she and I had already planned and discussed. And we looked at the lesson planning. I went into her classroom and co-taught with her. And
but she has been teaching for like 30 years, and she does absolutely nothing we say do. But like I told her, that's okay, because your test scores say, hey, what you're doing is working, and you're meeting your students where they are, where they are. So I mean, so yeah. But having that relationship, and just like I kind of told the principal to kind of back off of her, what she's doing is working. So
well, and somebody I was in another breakout group with, she said when she goes to have a conversation, she pulls up the data, and a lot of that, she said, that kind of takes the emotion out of it. Like if it's working, then that's okay. But if it's not, let's figure out something else that we can do.
Right.
I thought that was a good idea. She said that kind of takes my emotions out of it and feelings. That's on paper. Here's the results.
Right, because numbers don't lie.
Right. And if you see you're not getting success, then we've got to do something different.
Right. So let's see. Let's see where we are.
And then, like, how will you sustain your success? I think even after you finish coaching with them, keep checking back in and seeing if they're, still on that same track, or seeing if they need additional support.
Audrey?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So when they come back, I only have one more slide, and give them time to reflect, and I'm done. Sandy, are you there? Audrey has a video of her coaches demonstrating or modeling the growth model, and it's 7 minutes long. And I know that you're up next. What are you thinking? What do you think about it?
First doing module 3.
Yeah, I'm doing module 3 and it only takes a second. So if you think you want to show it, show it.
Is that okay? The coaches had just gone through this same module. I did that with them last year as part of the Palmetto Literacy Project. And then we did like a coaching lab. So all the coaches watched while the one teacher or one coach met with the teacher, and then they went through the questions. So
Okay.
it's up to you guys.
Because what I'm noticing in some of the breakout rooms is that they are deviating from the questions, and the coaches are giving more input than the coachees.
Okay.
So I do think that it will be helpful for them to actually see it.
Yeah, well, lunch is at 12, so we've got time. So
Okay, well, we can watch it and we can prompt it with like, be looking at coach talk versus teacher talk, who's coming up with ideas.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah. And then this last slide, I hate to stop sharing, and you shared and I share again, then Jennifer shares. I'll just go over the last slide with them and then tell them after they watch the video, then they could just respond in their journal, because it's just a start, stop, and continue, just reflecting on it.
okay, because I'm just going to share the bottom of the agenda to make sure they know where the module is for module 3.
All right, they have 2 minutes. All right, thank you, Audrey.
Sure.
Y'all, I am so cold. I'm wrapped up in a blanket. My feet are frozen.
Oh my.
And my heat's on. It's 27 degrees outside with the wind chill.
Yeah, I had to turn our little gas fireplaces on because I'm chilly too.
Well, you
And
know, when you sit still, it's just cold.
I'm noticing too, it's showing high of 37 on Thursday with rain. At least here. That sounds miserable.
Yeah, it rained here for the past few days, and luckily we have a cul-de-sac at the end, and it has like a fence. So how the neighborhood is built, there's like a slope. So all the water goes down there.
Oh, thank goodness. I know. We were having bad thunder and lightning too. Were you guys?
Yeah, last night, yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday afternoon, it started thundering about 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I posted something about it saying last weekend, I think, saying, I think this is spring. No, it's not. But Tina, what did we say we were going to have done for letters today?
Session 4.
Okay.
And I haven't really started reading it. I may just watch the video first and then go back to read it.
Let me tell you, this one, that video, there was tons of video. I was like, what happened?
It was. That took forever getting through those videos in session 4. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. I need to go back and take the, well, I don't know. I think I started watching session 3. I just didn't finish it. But I'll get to it.
Well, I just finished reading session 5, so I'm going to try to watch the video while we have our office hours, while we're waiting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then maybe it'll warm up enough that I can go outside and exercise.
All right, I'm going to bring them back.
I'm going to mute.
All right, I hope that you all found this very beneficial and that you've had an opportunity to share a coaching goal and really think through it using the growth model. And so in just a minute, Audrey is going to share with you a video of her coaches in using the growth model. But before we do that, I hate to stop sharing my screen and then she starts and then we do this back and forth thing. So I want to go ahead and just go over the last thing for us to just kind of wrap up here. And so just to have a reflection, this is called start, stop, and continue. So you've had a moment to reflect on your coaching practices. You've had an opportunity to critique using the problem solution and the solution problem managed conversations. You've had an opportunity to apply the growth model. So I would like for you to do a reflection for moving forward. But again, let's hold this part until after Audrey shows her coaches using the growth model because something may change for you. So after she shows the video, you're going to use the start, stop, and continue protocol. And you can click on the digital agenda to access the Padlet to add your reflection under the question. Okay, so you have a Padlet. So she'll share the video with you, and then you'll move on to the Padlet to add your reflection. All right. So any question before she shares the video with you? And here the start, it just says, after participating in this learning, what is one thing that you could start doing? Then one thing you want to stop doing, and then one thing that you would like to continue doing. All right, Audrey, are you ready?
I think so. I hope this works.
Let me stop. Did I stop sharing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure I share my computer sound. And do you see Coaching Lab Fishbowl up?
Yes.
Okay, to just give everyone some idea of what was happening, this is a coach. This is she's a 4K teacher, and we were actually, this was last year, having a coaching lab. So we had done some learning around the growth model, and then this teacher or this coach was meeting with a teacher to practice utilizing it, and then all the other coaches were watching, and then we discussed it and debriefed afterwards. So here is the coaching conversation using the growth model. As you're watching it, be looking for just the questions that she's asking, how it follows the growth protocol, who's doing the majority of the talking and the thinking during this, and just your overall perceptions of the conversation.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe I'll be dressed as a turkey. That's right. All right, we're ready.
Okay, so how do you think this coaching cycle we've been doing is going on interactive writing?
I think it's gone really well. It's been wonderful having you with us, and
Can you hear okay?
the kids are really excited about writing every morning, and I've seen them doing a lot of what we've been doing, sounding out words whenever they're just free writing and saying things like, I know H says, and just adding that into their just regular, natural writing. So yeah, it's gone well.
Yay,
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so what goal do you think you might like to achieve in the near future? Now that we've kind of got interactive writing going and it's moving forward, what would you like to work on next?
I would really like to get our writers workshop a little more solidified. Like I said, as of right now, it's really, I'm mostly just letting them write. And I mean, I think for 4-year-olds, that's pretty appropriate, but I would like to get it a little more concrete. I think I need to find a different time of day to do it, because the time that I currently have them doing it tends to get a little chaotic. So I'm trying to figure out a better time in the day to implement that. But we'll see what would work best for them.
So you spoke a little bit about this.
Yeah.
You were talking about how you do some writing,
Right.
it's time of day, and so then where are you in relation to that goal? Where, like right now, what is your reality with writing workshop? Or
Right now, it's really just, we come together, we talk about how we need to draw pictures that make sense. I've tried to model some simple drawings for them, and as of right now, they draw a picture, tell me what they drew, and that's about it right now. So it's pretty minimal.
So drawing a picture and then that kind of dictated
Yes,
what,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So what do you think you could do to move forward in this goal? What would be your
I think the first step is definitely finding the best time of day to really get their attention. I'm thinking that might be coming in from specials. That might be the best time to bring it back in. And then after that, just finding like specific focuses for them to, really think about whenever they're doing their writing time.
So almost like, and I know you don't know a lot about it, do a lot with it, like the
Right.
older grades use the writing workshops,
Right,
like
right.
trying to implement
Yes,
something like that.
yes.
So then, if you know that that's where you want to go, is there a way that I can help you with that I can?
I mean, having you with us is always wonderful. And maybe if you could come and we could kind of do what we did with the interactive writing, where I was able to watch you model it done properly a couple of times, and then we can come together and co-teach, and
okay,
I can see
that sort of I do, we do, you do kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Are there any other things that you might do to move forward?
I know. That's fine. I mean, I think right now we're in a pretty decent place. They have their journals set up. They understand that they only use one piece of paper at a time. I think once I nail down like just a better time to get their attention, I think just getting that focus and getting them to just sit and do, I mean, because you've seen it, just getting them to just stay and really focus on their work, and rather than wander around the room is probably the next step.
Okay.
So far, it's no struggle.
Well, you're right. It's time to nail down the time
Yes,
is important. All right. So then I guess what would be the first step in achieving this? I guess if we're talking about maybe doing another coaching cycle where I come in and we work on it together, what would be the next step then for us?
The next step for us, I mean, just doing it. I mean, I don't know how to say it any more eloquently than that. Figuring out like just a good time for us to come together and have some concrete plans
Okay,
for them
so
to.
just some planning. we can do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Because I don't like to narrow their thought too much, because if they want to draw about a tractor and that's something they're excited about, I want them to draw about the tractor. But at the same time, some of them need more of a guide. I think that's what I need help with. It's just, how much do I need to funnel their thinking? Should I let it be broad? Should I let,
Okay.
I just want to know that I'm doing the right thing.
Okay, so this will be a tricky one.
Okay.
If this is happening well, if you've achieved your goal and it's happening well, what will others notice about you?
Can you repeat that question?
Yes, I can. What will others notice about you if you are doing this well?
I think people will notice that. I think they'll notice the progress of our students in terms of their writing abilities and their readiness for kindergarten. Whenever this does well, I think people will just see more engagement in the classroom and students that are excited about writing.
I agree, absolutely. Those are some tricky questions.
This is good.
Okay, so then I guess we talked about next steps would be then for us to find a time to plan. So I guess I will be in touch with my schedule, because obviously next week it's not going to work for either one of us.
True. And maybe it's something that we can really nail down when we come back in the winter. That'll be maybe a good time to retrain their brains. There's going to be a lot of reteaching going on then anyway. So, but obviously it would be nice to implement it sooner. But, if not, we can really get.
Okay. And I can definitely look at my schedule, what I have planned, and get in touch with you.
That sounds good.
We'll work out a time to plan and
Awesome.
see when we can get started.
Sounds good.
Yay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey.
You guys notice about the conversation, the flow of it, the growth model?
She basically put it in the teacher's hands to come up with what the next steps were going to be and what the focus was going to be.
Definitely wasn't seeing very much offering of ideas. It was all the teacher's decision. What else?
I noticed she let the teacher do a lot of the talking, and as that happened, like even the teacher came to realizations. You could see her coming to realizations as she talked.
Yeah, because there was a big focus on when it was, when this lesson had to happen. But I think what really came out later was she's concerned about their lack of focus and engagement. And so, but it took some time for her to get there. Anything else? What I love is that it's only 7.5 minutes. So a powerful conversation, a goal that's set, and with ideas of how to get it done, and then ways to know that it's been effective. And it was 7 minutes, so it wasn't a huge production. So, all right. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Audrey. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to tell them, give them 2 minutes, because they have 2 minutes to respond on the Padlet. Some are already responded.
I'm gonna be bringing up my screen while they're doing that.
Yep, go ahead. Yep, they're already adding.
Bettina, you just tell me when to go and I'll go.
Thank you. I give them about 1 more minute. And guys, make sure to add where it says add comment, add up under that question your comment. I think some of you are creating new ones and I'm not sure where it goes, if it's up under the start, the stop, or continue. Right. Okay, Jennifer, thank
All
you.
right. Okay. So we're going to wrap this morning up. Thank you, Audrey, for sharing that video. That was just icing on the cake. Before we break for lunch, because now, as you know, we don't come back for the Module 3 setup. We just go ahead and get you set up now so then you can do it at your leisure. So the Module 3, again, today is the MTSS presentation. We want you to revisit it wherever you might want to go back and look at what you looked at last time and moving forward. But this is a very important presentation that we don't want it to be a one and done. And as you see here on the agenda, there's a back channel. Yours may have a yellow highlight, but if you refresh it, we've got the link in there. We realized it wasn't there mid-morning, so we made sure that was there so that you can add your reflections. We really want you to do that so that we can see what you're thinking and what you're planning to do. Then at 2:15 on your schedule, I'm just going to scroll up here just to remind you of what is going on. We're getting ready to break for lunch. You'll work on your Module 3. And you might want to, if you're going to be meeting with your book club, y'all might want to spend some time together talking about Module 3 as well. And we know some of you meet with book club at another time, so that is fine. But last but not least, please fill out the PLO survey, which is at the very bottom here in the word February, if you'll fill that out. But wait until you've completed all your tasks before you do that, because there are questions about Module 1, 2, and 3. And then we will have our office hours from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And then, so we'll be here after lunch. And if you need anything, you can pop back in then to ask us. And if there are no other questions, Sandy, Bettina, did I forget anything? Okay, we all have a nice lunch and you've got a busy afternoon. So enjoy yourselves. And it was great seeing and hearing everybody today, and stay warm because it's freezing here where I am. There's something in the chat. Let me make sure. Let's see. That was Audrey. You're welcome. Thank you, Audrey. Well, that ended just on time.
Very good. I'm not over, but that was good.
Did you stop recording? You might want to.